So there is a colossal backlash that happened as a direct result of ABC effectively firing Jimmy Kimmel. They say it's a suspension, but really, I think in their heart of hearts, it's firing. And it's all because the FCC, Donald Trump's FCC, led by Brendan Carr, basically turned into a mafia boss, and he said, we could do this the easy way or we can do this a hard way. They wanted Jimmy Kimmel off the air because Jimmy Kimmel mocks Trump. Trump doesn't like it when late-night comedians mock him. And so, like, this truly is a clear violation of the First Amendment, and it's not particularly close. If the government is throwing around its weight and issuing threats and twisting arms to try to get Jimmy Kimmel fired, and by the way, the implication there, too, is that all of these local affiliates that carry ABC that maybe will revoke your broadcast license if you don't fire Jimmy Kimmel. When that happens, I mean, it's way, way over that bright red line of the government impeding speech that it doesn't like. But guess what? Americans are absolutely standing up and fighting back, and they are not standing for it. Not even a little bit. So look at this. Disney Plus cancellation page crashes as customers rush to quit after Kimmel suspension. Disney faces a wave of cancellations after pulling Jimmy Kimmel live, with subscribers reporting that the Disney Plus cancellation page keeps crashing. So many people are trying to partake in the boycott that the page where you cancel your Disney Plus is crashing over and over. Now, my guess is they didn't really expect this. Maybe they expected a little bit of a minor backlash around the edges, but oftentimes we see this from these big-wig billionaire executives that make these decisions. I think they think the country is more MAGA than it is. I think they think, me getting rid of Jimmy Kimmel is going to be probably mostly popular move. But it's just not the case at all. I mean, Trump right now has a 38% approval rating. I mean, that is historically low, especially for this point in a presidency where we're not even a year in. Usually, they're at 50% or a little higher at this point in their presidency. But Trump's already ruined so many things and screwed up so much that that's the reaction. People despise him. And so everybody knows this is Trump who did it. Everybody knows this is the FCC that did this. And there's a backlash. And I think people intuitively get that this really is effectively a war on the best of American values is what this is. But I'm just getting started. So let me give you this one now, too. Disney has lost nearly $4 billion in market value since suspending Jimmy Kimmel. $4 billion. Now, they say, they were in talks to bring him back eventually or whatever, but they haven't actually come to an agreement. They haven't come to a deal. And again, as I said, I really think they said, it's just a suspension, but it's indefinitely suspended. And I think in their heart of hearts, they viewed it as we're actually going to fire him. We'll pretend like we're just suspending him for now, but we're going to move on past him. That's what I think was happening. But he was in talks with the executives and they couldn't come to an agreement. And also, Kimmel was like, I'm not going to back down. Back down from what? My joke wasn't even bad. Basically, what he said is MAGA is working overtime to try to make people think that this guy who killed Charlie Kirk was anything but MAGA. And then he says, and Trump is clearly really upset about it. Then it cuts to the video of Trump, where Trump's asked how he's doing after Charlie Kirk got killed. And he goes, I'm doing okay. Anyway, look over there. You see that ballroom? We're building the ballroom. The trucks are here. They've been wanting this for like 150 years. I got it done. And so it was basically a joke at Trump's expense, saying how much he doesn't give a fuck about Charlie Kirk. And it's funny because it's true. But now MAGA is trying to they're trying to rewrite history here and say, the reason why Jimmy Kimmel was fired is because he definitively said the shooter was MAGA, which is not true that he said that. But the other thing is, even if he did say that, which he didn't, that would be fine. You're allowed to say things like that. Like, that doesn't cross a line. Are you kidding me? Fox News had to pay out $787 billion. Or billion. No, that's not possible. Million. Excuse me. They don't have $787 billion sitting around. That's ridiculous. They had to pay out $787 million for repeatedly lying about the 2020 election. It was actual defamation. And so they had to pay the voting machine company. And after that, all of the fucking asshole hosts that were literally committing a crime with their speech, they didn't get fired. They were still hanging out on air. No problem whatsoever. And so basically what I'm saying is there's even a right to say untrue things. But it wasn't even like Jimmy Kimmel was saying something untrue and that he knew was untrue. No, it's perfectly reasonable. He didn't say the shooter was MAGA, but even if he did, it's perfectly reasonable to believe that. I mean, his Steam gaming name was Donald Trump. He comes from a super MAGA family where the grandma was like, everybody's MAGA in our family, right? So, I mean, this is the way they move the goalposts to try to justify and rationalize, quite literally and directly taking away somebody's free speech. And then they try to do this thing where it's like, well, you guys were guilty of it first, so we can do it now. And it's like, but you were against it when the left did it, point number one. Point number two is, Biden never used the official power of the government to get comedians fired for hurting his feelings, ever. Usually left-wing cancel culture was grassroots. It was ground up. It was, hey, a bunch of students got together and signed a petition because they didn't want Ben Shapiro speaking at their college. That's what it was on the left. All right, let's continue. I'm still not done. So we also got this. Disney stock drops 7% after ABC suspends Jimmy Kimmel show. Entertainment giants shares fall in early trading following indefinite suspension decision. By the way, here's something they didn't consider. ABC, Disney, like, these are huge companies, but who is going to want to work for that company now, knowing that even saying the mildly wrong thing to the executives can get you shit canned? Like, nobody's going to want to work for them because they're going to go, you guys don't protect your talent. You guys don't protect your people. So, like, you're the last people I would ever want to fucking work for. They did not consider this. All right, more. Sarah McLachlan, Jewel, and more musicians scheduled to perform at tonight's premiere for Hulu's ABC News doc, Lilith Fair, have all pulled out after Disney scrapped the red carpet. First notable talent consequence of the Jimmy Kimmel situation. Still not done. We also have this one. Over 400 artists, including Ben Affleck, Jennifer Aniston, Robert De Niro, Selena Gomez, Tom Hanks, Ben Stiller, and Meryl Streep, have signed a letter in response to ABC's suspension of Jimmy Kimmel's show. Quote, "This is a dark moment for freedom of speech in our nation. This is unconstitutional and un-American. The government is threatening private companies and individuals that the president disagrees with. We can't let this threat to our freedom of speech go unanswered." So the talent is fighting back. Now, by the way, what's MAGA's reaction to this? Oh, you're speaking out about Jimmy Kimmel getting fired, but you didn't say anything about Charlie Kirk getting killed? They think that's some sort of a burn. I mean, what a fucking ridiculous thing to say. What is your claim that, like, Carrot Top and Fergie are low-key pro-murder and they should have came out and clarified that they're anti-murder? I mean, what a sick joke this is. No, the fact of the matter is, the government of the United States, led by the president, put pressure on the FCC to put pressure on affiliate channels because he was getting made fun of and he didn't like it. That is literally a war on the First Amendment and the Constitution. And these people realize that. Yeah, everybody knows fucking murder is wrong. Murder is also illegal. There will be justice in this case, of course. But on the flip side, with what Trump is doing here, he could just fucking get away with it if we don't make a huge stink about this right the fuck now. So please spare me with your fucking bullshit. This horrible point of, like, you didn't say anything about Charlie, but now you're against Jimmy Kimmel being censored and fired and the First Amendment being under assault. It's like, oh my God, if only they understood how ridiculous they looked to any normal person when they say shit like that, you know? All right, still not done. Zoran Mamdani will announce today he is canceling a televised town hall with WABC News planned for September 25th in the wake of the network suspending comedian Jimmy Kimmel's late night show last week. This is really backfiring on them, man. This is really fucking backfiring on them. Because I think, again, I really think it comes down to these billionaire executives like Bob Iger, these people, they're completely and utterly out of touch. And they really think like, oh, the country is more MAGA than it is, and people will just agree with what I'm doing here on principle, not realizing that we all see through it. You're doing this because you're fucking scared of Trump, but you're also doing this because you want to get your merger approved, and we all know it. And there's a good lesson in this too, by the way, that the consolidation of wealth and power is also a threat to democracy and a threat to your constitutional rights. Because we used to have like 50 companies that made up our media. Now that shit is all the way down to 5, and they're trying to consolidate further. Well, guess what? When it's only like 5 fucking billionaires that control all of our media, and the president goes, hey, I'm going to revoke your fucking licenses, or I'm going to tax you more, or I'm going to fine you, or whatever the fuck, if you don't do what I want, they bend the knee and they go, sir, yes, sir, I'll do whatever you want. But if there were 50 companies or 300 companies, You threaten one, and they say, look, I got to run what I got to run. I got to compete with these other networks they have funny comedians that make fun of the president. I can't just cave to your wishes because you want me to do it. I will fucking sink out here. I won't be able to make it in the free market against all these other businesses, right? So the consolidation of wealth, the consolidation of power, this is why I always tell you guys, the enemies are the fascists and the billionaires. And that's super crucial. That's super important. And here you have a great example of why. Because the billionaires bent the knee like the little cuck bitches they are, because they care more about getting their mergers approved than they care about literal constitutional rights. That says a lot right there, bro. That says a lot right there. So there is colossal backlash now, huge backlash against ABC. And it'll be interesting to see what happens from here because, look, MAGA's running around, holding their scalp fucking proud of what they did here. And it's like, I'm sorry, you guys are just completely and utterly out of touch with the country, right? You think people watched the memorial of Charlie Kirk, which turned into a fucking far-right rally, and they walked away going, oh, that was touching. No, they walked away going, what the fuck was that? What was that? This is supposed to be like a somber, solemn, reflective event. And you guys are up there giving campaign speeches and talking about how half the country are fucking vermin. Like, what is this? We know what this is. This is clearly fascism. Fascism is here. And it's not even fucking debatable anymore. But thankfully, a very large percentage of the country is going, fuck that, man. Not on my watch. Not on my watch. And so they're fighting back. So ABC really opened up a can of worms here. And now they're fucked. So, look, if I was advising them, I would say, you better fucking hire Jimmy Kimmel back. You better apologize for your lies, for caving to the Mad King. And you better go on record as like, hey, he might retaliate against us now. And when he does that, I hope all of you are there to defend us, right? That's all you can do. Because if you just cave to the king and you just do whatever the fuck he wants and you lose all your talent and you lose your credibility as a network, you lose your views, you lose your support, was it all worth it? Was it all fucking worth it so you can be collaborators with the modern day fascists? Certainly not worth it. So keep the pressure up. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop. And watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.